Hi, Jurgen. Could I ask you another question about Mo and Sadio? Normally, after a tournament, players have got a few weeks to kind of assess what's happened and what they've achieved. One of them is going to come home a winner and will be on top of the world, but one is going to come home, a runner-up. How much of a challenge is that going to be for you to look after the player that loses the final on Sunday? Can you foresee difficulties with that?
Not really. I'm not the type of guy who thinks everything will be a problem. So both play a successful tournament, and we will see the situation next year, end November, early December, exactly the same. And everybody's coming back from the World Cup. There was one winner and maybe two or three winners, and all the rest lost. So that's the world we created for these boys. Thank you for asking. Usually nobody asks about how will they deal with it. I can deal with it. That's no problem. I will help them with all I have. That's why I said when they come back, we have to talk, and we will see if they need anything, if they need a day off or 2 days off, whatever, these kind of things. They are our boys, and we will do everything to help them through all the different situations. That's how it always was. But how I said, it will be exactly the same with the World Cup. I think the World Cup ends and we go into Boxing Day or something like that. Yeah. Very interesting. So I'm pretty sure then it's World Cup finish. You win the World Cup, then you come back, play 26 wherever, play the 28 and all these kind of things. Let's talk then about it. Then we have the experience from the Africa Cup and can tell you it was easy, it was not so easy. But so far we obviously don't have this experience or didn't have this experience too often.
I mean, could I just ask a follow-up on that? Could it be a good thing that they are plunged straight back into the Premier League as soon as they get back? There's not really a lot of time to think about what's happened over the last few weeks. It's just straight back into club business.
Look, but especially these two boys are real warriors, and so they are constantly ready. They're both not worried about holiday, about days off and stuff like this. I never heard them ask anything about, can I get here day off? Never. They never did. So especially with these two boys, it's really pretty simple. I know they want to play immediately, but together with them, we have to find out how much sense it makes. So we will see that. So you can imagine both want to play at Leicester, both want to against Leicester, both want to be involved, want to score goals, and all they want to win football games for Liverpool. So that's how it is. But it's one. What is today? Friday.
Yeah.
So it's 5 days until we have to make that decision, and I didn't think too much about it because the boys have to come. They will come back, and then we talk. That's it.
Fantastic. Mike McGrath, and then Joe Bernstein.
Hi, Jurgen. With the two players playing on Sunday, Sadio and Mo. I mean, they've won so much together, but as strikers who are kind of naturally selfish people themselves on the pitch, do you think? Do they have a rivalry themselves between them that you sense at all? Kind of as goal scorers, wanting to be Golden Boot winners or scoring more than
at the Africa Cup or what?
In general?
No, as teammates.
They were 2-3 years ago. They were together, got the Golden Boot of the league. That was a really nice moment. So apart from that, do they have a competition? I know that Robbo and Trent have a competition for assists, because if we win 4 goals, probably Robbo would lose before the season starts. But that's completely a normal, natural thing. Nothing. But Diogo probably wants to score goals, and if possible more than others. So Bobby as well, even people don't think like that about him. So there's no real competition, but a little bit of competition is there for sure.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mike. Joe Bernstein, and then Russell to finish. Joe.
Thank you, Jurgen. It was interesting what you said about Mo doing the speech to the players. I noticed that as well, because we always think at Liverpool, we think of maybe Jordan Henderson being the driver and Mo and Sadio being very quiet. That's what we see from the outside. But do you see them becoming more influential within the Liverpool dressing room as leaders as the older they get?
The experience plays very influential, absolutely. But it's we have to make a difference. So I have my meeting and stuff like this, but the how is that? pep talk, or his pep talk, but before the game, when Millie and Hendo and some others, Robbo are more vocal before the last few minutes. As a not-native speaker, it does. I'm not very vocal, and because just it does make sense that in these moments each word has to hit the nail. So and not like this kind of things around. That doesn't work. So my English getting better, and it's the same for Sadio and Mo, obviously. But and I saw again leadership skills a lot from Nabi, and Nabi, it took a while for him until he spoke good enough English to understand us all. But meanwhile, his English is really good. So, but now they are there in their home language, are the most important players, best players of their countries, and they take the role. That's impressive. So I was never in doubt that they have leadership skills, definitely. But we have different groups, and they have different things to do in the different groups, and they obviously were the head, and they fulfilled that role pretty impressive.
Okay. Thanks, Joe. And then we finish with Russell. Final question for this section of the press conference. Russell.
Hi, Jürgen. You talk about having competition for places in every position. Can I just ask you about Robbo and Constas at left back? At the start of the season, Robbo was out with injury and Constas came in and he did a fantastic job. And since Robbo's come back, he seems to have upped his game even more. I think he got a double against Palace, and I think that he's had 2 double assists in his last 7 games. Has having stiff competition brought the best out of Robbo? And in terms of Constas, I mean, how far do you think he can go?
What was the last part? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Constas, I mean, yeah, in terms of Constas, I mean, do you think there's even more development to come from him yet?
Yeah. So I'm not sure. So again, sorry, the English and stuff like this. So I'm not sure. Competition is exactly the word I want in these kind of moments. So we have one big team, we have one squad. If you play for Liverpool, you have a lot of good things you can expect, and some things are different than when you play for another club. So here at Liverpool, we have to win each game. So that's pretty much how it is. We unfortunately don't do that, but that doesn't mean that we are allowed to lose the next one as well. For this, we need brilliant players, and these boys over the last 3 years did an absolutely incredible job, and without, how you say, competition on different positions, they forced them, that they stretched really their limits. Absolutely unbelievable what the development they had. So we didn't bring in different players to create a competition. We bring in players to have solutions in different situations. So, and that means now that the boys have to deal with it. That's the job you have to do. So it means you're the first lineup. So run your socks off and play as good as you can, as long as you can. And if you can't do that anymore, then another player has to be there who can replace you and do the same job, if possible, even better, because it's fresher. And that's the idea behind. So a season is really long, and we suffered so much from injuries in the last few years. And hopefully it will not be the case now anymore. But if it happens, we should be better prepared. If it doesn't happen, then we have a situation where players will be on the bench who expect to play, and where players will be not in the squad who expect to be on the bench. So these kind of situations you have, never for long, but sometimes you will have that completely normal situation we had it before. Not too often, unfortunately, and we will have it in the future. Footballers are used to that. And if there is a player who can the same position, to go back to your question, can play the same position as yourself in a quite impressive way, yeah, you better perform. Because my job is not to stick with boys as much as I like them, as much as I owe them, as much as we went through together. My job is to line up the best team for today, not for yesterday. And that's the more options we have, the more top class options we have, the better it is for the club. And that's hopefully the situation.